But without further ado, it's time. And this week we're gonna get started with my oracle. Oh, look, it's so pleased with us. We're gonna get started with my oracle just to see what the energies are for today, and then we'll allow tarot to give us the rest of the story. But yeah, it definitely feels like a nice day to let oracle set the tone. Wow, and yeah, they're coming right on out. First out, we got Miami, and then what also came out with it second was fire, and then I'm seeing no on the bottom. And this just feels like remembering who you are. It feels like choosing the things that feel light, that feel like vacation. If things are presenting themselves to you in heavy energy, dense energies, and energies that just doesn't match what you're calling in for yourself and who you know yourself to be, and everything, that it just doesn't match the work you've done and how you now see the world and all that, understand that, allow it to burn away, release it to that internal flame within you. And the violet flame might be significant as well. I don't want to butcher that. So yeah, if you feel called or there's resonance there, definitely look into it. But yeah, allow these things to burn away. Allow these things to exit your reality, exit your experience, and know that you don't have to give them energy just because they're presenting themselves to you, The best way to allow these things to leave your experience is to not engage with them a lot of the times, to allow them to just move out, move along. And it's your engagement, the energy you give it, the focus you give it, and the way you continue to entangle yourselves with these energies that allow them to keep playing out in the same cycles, in the same ways, to keep, existing in your reality when they don't need to and there's no room for them. And it's like the no at the bottom feels like, the bottom is what I read as subconscious energy. And this just feels like no, like it's plain and simple. Like you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to wonder, like, am I wrong? Am I tripping? Like, should I do this? Should I do this? No, like if there's any confusion, if you're not sure, if it's all that, that's an indicator that it's not something for you. Because these messages and the things that's truly in alignment to you, it doesn't come through confusion, the messages that have resonated a lot, the things that have led to your biggest breakthroughs and your biggest realizations of the world you live in and the world around you did not come through confusion. And if it did come through confusion, it was what came after the confusion, which is the clarity, which was like, wow, this thing is causing nothing but confusion. I need to let it go. And then you let it go, and then clarity found you. But it was never through a bunch of being confused that, these breakthroughs happened. They happened in spite of the confusion, in spite of the noise, in spite of the presence of all these things that no longer serve you. So if things are showing up right now that have you questioning yourself, or have you like, dang, I don't know what's going on, or I'm not sure my left from my right, my up from my down, that's a good indicator that whatever this is just isn't in resonance to you and where you're going. Because where we are now and these new frequencies on the planet and in the world, and the way we're navigating it all in the age of Aquarius and New Earth and the 5D and all these things that we're now find ourselves in, clarity and inspired action and resonance is the way forward, and is the only way forward. Not through force, not through confusion, not through overthinking, not through the mind, but through the heart, through the intuition, through spirit and soul. So that definitely remember that. And what just came out was go out. And this feels like doing the things that light you up, going to that place, going to that party, whatever makes you feel good. And even if that's just going out into nature, simply like just going to the park, go do that. And understand that as you do that, everything else will find you. And that's the call right now. It's like WTF at the bottom. So this just feels like someone's a little ungrounded. And not even just someone, like just as I was explaining today, like today was a weird day from top to bottom, honestly. So it's like, and I've found myself saying, what the F a few times today. So just like, if you find yourself in that same energy, tap into the things that make you feel good, that feel like you, that have flow, because I'm sure across the board, everywhere isn't weird. There's still those pockets where you still have that divine flow, that divine presence, where things are still showing, that everything's on track. Lean into those things. If there's people that feel exactly how, you feel, and the flow is the exact flow that you feels like you, tap in with them, go hang out with those people, spend a little time talking to them. If your work makes you feel super fulfilled and you have nothing but inspiration there and flow there, hey, go tap in with your work. You don't have to give these things energy just because they're calling for it, If it's making you say, what the F, you need to remove yourself from it, plain and simple. And yeah, that's a nice reminder, and I'm taking it if no one else does, for sure. And yeah, look, right under that, and it's like these things, you already know how these things go. Chances are, whatever these things that are making you feel this way, it's not a new feeling. They've been making you feel that way. They've been having you questioning. They've been having you feeling off your rocker. They've been doing all these things. And it's like, how many times does it need to happen for you to understand, like, it's just not for you? And at some point, you have to protect your divine feminine within you, because the divine feminine is where we receive all these things, So through the divine masculine, we navigate our experience. We put ourselves places. And if we continue to put ourselves places where we open ourselves up to noise, we open ourselves up to confusion, we open ourselves up to things that really cloud our judgment, that cloud our intuition, that cloud our ability to see clearly and to receive our environment clearly, our guidance clear, and everything clearly, we're doing our divine feminine a disservice. And especially if it's just out of ego, or curiosity of just, like, oh, I just wonder what's going on, or, oh, this person said this and I feel the need to clear it up. So my divine masculine, I use that energy to go, to the action I take is to engage with it. And now I'm debating, or now I'm just, trying to defend myself when I don't need to defend myself. You're opening up your divine feminine to whatever they come with, And a lot of times, you have more to lose than those people and those dynamics and those things. So it's like they're going to be saying all type of stuff and all type of things that, plant seeds of doubt within you that make you question yourself, and understand you don't need to question yourself. So now you done opened up your divine feminine. You're not protecting her. And not that she needs protecting, but she definitely doesn't need to just be navigating and using her energy to navigate and use her discernment to navigate noise from truth, from this, from that, when you can simply just, I know where that leads. I'm just not going to engage. I don't need to clear my name. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need for them to even understand where I'm coming from. As long as I'm locked in with myself and I know what's going on, everything else can fall where it may. And that's the most divine action you can take. That's the most God-bodied action you can take. That's the most divine masculine embodied action you can take, is to just be so comfortable in yourself that you don't need to prove yourself to anything. Because when you do, you open yourself up to all types of things, and that divine feminine within you deserves better than that, and deserves to use her magic and her power and her connection to it all to simply do that, to connect to these wonderful energies and this divine ass way of being in this divine ass world that we live in, not have to recover from taking on everybody else's BS, And it's like only you have the ability to navigate your world the way you do, through your divine masculine and through your vehicle of you and spirit and through your body, all of that. So yeah, that just feels like the call right now. And yeah, that feels like a very important message. And yeah, I'm gonna take that one too if nobody else does. So hell yeah, I'm really glad we started with Oracle, because yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like what we needed to start with was messages that would come in such a nuanced way that was too nuanced for, the traditional tarot and the archetypes that presents itself in there. So yeah, always listen to yourself, y'all. The biggest shifts come through as like super subtle energies, super subtle nudges. So make sure you're allowing yourself to listen and follow those, and let them take you to wherever they want to take you. And yeah, see, let it go on the bottom. And that just feels like it's in alignment to what we were just talking about. It's like, let it go. Let them have it. You don't have to harp on these things. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to do any of that. And look, like, can't make this up. 777, you are the jackpot. You are everything that you know yourself to be. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And this just feels like super divine favor as well. It feels like not just a jackpot, but I'm being called to 7 and being in supreme mathematics. If you're familiar with the teachings of the 5 percenters and the nation of gods and earths, 7 is in supreme mathematics is God. And this just feels like 777 is just, you hit the divine jackpot, and that everything that's coming in for you right now is a product of your connection to it all and your embodiment of it all. And you're coming up big right now. You're winning really, really big right now. And that's also the source of where a lot of this noise is coming from, you know. The energy you sit in right now can be felt in the quantum, can be felt in every dimension. So a lot of your reality is fighting back. A lot of, you know, there's spiritual warfare going on outside, and you'd be very silly to not believe, especially if you know yourself to be the big deal that you are. You'd be very delusional not to believe that, you know, that attacks are being sent your way, that that just as much love and light is finding you, that there are energies that aren't as love and light, you know. And that doesn't mean to be afraid, because when you know who you are, you know that you're not at the mercy of anything, and that your free will and you knowing who you are and your connection to it all comes with protections. But yes, you still have to be aware that that is the case, you know, because that's where all the protection is. If you're just out here just la 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 la, then, you know, your protections might not all be in place the way they need to be. But like I said, that's not to incite fear. That's not to make you move fearfully or hesitant. It's just to give you the awareness. And once you have the awareness, boom, you're protected. You're good. You know you're divinely protected. You know that your free will is your own, and that no one's free will trumps yours, and that their free will stops right where yours starts, you know. And as long as you're not consenting to other people having more power than you, or other people being able to mess up your experience, then it won't happen, because there's not that resonance, there's not that consent there. They're gonna have to take that to someone who doesn't know who they are. And boom, right under that, royalty, which is who you are. You're divine royalty. You're a very, very big deal. And if you find yourself and things are showing up right now and things are weird after a while of them not being weird, and you feeling so divinely held and protected and all that, understand that nothing has changed. You still are that. And that, you know, allow these things to pass as they will, if you allow them to. You don't have to engage with them or internalize them or anything. And right under that, pearl. And it's like, yo, all these things are telling that same story of your value, of exactly who you are, and that you are a big deal. Let the rest of that go. Oh, look, let it go. Flipped over the pile again, and it was face up. I was just looking over it because that's where it was, but it was literally face up again after I put it back in the pile. It's like, let it go. Allow them to carry that weight if they want to carry it. But you're too light to take on their density. And yeah, I'm gonna pull maybe one more or see what comes after a few more shuffles, but I'm ready to dive right into tarot. I feel like we set the stage for sure. We created space in our cups and in our awareness and all of that. So yeah, I'm ready to dive in, honestly. And if we need to come back, we'll definitely come back. It's like serve. It's like the things you're called to do are way bigger than you. You can't allow one person or one thing to become bigger than the program, because at the end of the day, you're here to do a job. You're here to show up for yourself and those who depend on you, and through that, the rest of the world, you know, because as you continue to ground in who you are and to walk in your purpose, the entire world benefits on that. So you allowing one person to knock you off your rocker when the whole world benefits from you being exactly who you are is craziness. So you cannot allow that to happen. You're here to do a service for yourself first, and that bleeds into everybody else. So those very people who are trying to slow you down and tell you to stop or make you feel misguided, they're doing themselves a disservice by stopping you from being exactly who you are. MLK's kids on Twitter on the bottom. And this just feels like, yo, diluted history is diluted history. People are able to paint pictures and yeah, history, just in general, this energy is just the fact that Martin Luther King Jr., when you see all the pictures, they're all black and white, and just they're painted as so long ago. But when you zoom out, his kids are on Twitter. His kids are actively posting, actively engaging on social media where we are. And it's like, if that's the case, how long ago really was that? You know, that he was assassinated, and the civil rights movements and all these things. And not even to make this about race, this is way bigger than race. It's just that that's how history is told a lot of times. Remember, history is in the hands of the winners, you know. Those who lost aren't the ones writing the textbooks. Those who suffered and who were oppressed and, you know, silenced and all that aren't the ones writing the textbooks, aren't the ones getting rid of literature, aren't the ones, you know, getting rid of all these initiatives that carry the truth and ensure that truth is taught. So understand that this is no different, and that you're no different. So it's like the truth is the truth no matter what. And if you don't zoom out and allow yourself to zoom out, you might be falling into the illusions that are put into place for you to do just that. So, and right under that is, look, triple question marks. It's like, ask more questions, y'all. Zoom out before just taking things on and taking other people's truth as your own and other people's energies. Remember who you are. Remember how you got here, and know that you didn't get here lightly, and that questions will continue to lead you to truth. And the only way you mess up is when you stop asking questions, and when you start just accepting whatever you're told as the be all end all of what things are. And look, and on the top is hair. And that just reminds me to how I was called to tell us to shake our hair today. And that was the first time ever in all these presence practice and any guided meditation I've ever done in which I've gave that directive. And that felt very significant. And the hair carries energy. The hair is an external part of our nervous system. You know, you have your nervous system, which connects you to your environment, which connects you to all these things on the inside, but your hair is an extension of that on the outside. So remember, you're carrying a lot of these things as far as just energy and all that from when you started growing it and all that, and it stays in your hair. So make sure you're being mindful of that. Make sure you're engaging with your hair, and when you're washing it and things like that, that you're allowing that to be a ritual, you know, that you're shedding things that no longer serves you, and that you're only keeping the energy of things that lend itself to your highest good. And that doesn't mean that everything you experience that isn't savory, you know, every negative experience is one that you need to get rid of and shed it out your hair, because, you know, there's lessons that came from that. And everything that you are right now is a product of all the worst things and all the best things as well. So it's a balance of acknowledging where you've been, while also, you know, creating room for where you're going. So hell yeah, shake your hair, run your fingers through it, foster a connection with your hair, and understand that it's way more than just hair, that it really is your nervous system on the outside of your body, and that you can sense things and it connect to things and connect to people and connect to yourself, the world around you, the divine, all these things through your hair. So, and if you're someone who's always cut your hair and all that, but you've been, because of societal pressures, as that was my reality for a long time, but you feel, you know, you've always been called to grow it out. Maybe that's why, you know, that there is a connection through your hair. And so the story of Samson and all that might be significant as well. And yeah, it's a tale as old as time itself. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with what naturally comes out of you, you know, what naturally grows with you. And it's all to be embraced and loved. So that being said, let's go and switch over to tarot. These messages are very, very interesting. The energy feels very interesting and different than usual. I feel very, very, very expanded and very connected. Yeah, like I could have kept following those threads of energy endlessly. Like it felt like I could just keep pulling. But it also felt like if I kept doing, I would just keep doing that. It felt like at some point I had to decide on my own to move on when I felt right to move on. So that's interesting and very different than usual, because I feel like usually I'll ride out the energy until, you know, it feels like there's just no more to express. But today it feels like if I allow it, I can go and do a whole Monday magic session on just one card and one thread of energy and all that. But yeah, that's not what I feel called to do right now. So that being said, boom, 10 of Cups on the bottom. And that's what we're in right now. It's like, as much as things may feel different, as much as things may be shifting, or you might feel like, I don't know where I stand right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're just as aligned as you have been. And that's not going to change, because you are alignment. And where you are right now and the person you are right now, you didn't get here lightly, you know? So trust yourself and know that you're exactly where you need to be. Yeah, these cards feel very, very calm. And as soon as I say that, of course, we've got action. Wow.